Welcome to Travel in 20, your weekly passport to travelling like a pro. I'm Jackie Falgate, and each week I'll be joined by travel insiders to uncover their top tips in just 20 minutes. In today's episode, we demystify the Maldives, what to expect, where to stay, and how to get there. Helping us dive into this paradise is Michael Thompson, Luxury Escapes resident, Maldives expert. Welcome to Travel in 20, Michael. Hi.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Now, please tell me how many islands you went to in how many days, because this is the best.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique way of doing it. I went to 12 different properties in 14 days on a recent work trip in February this year.
They kept you busy.
They kept me very busy. I told my friends where I was going for a work trip, and I must admit they were very jealous, but I was at work, but at the same time I got to visit some amazing properties.
So, Michael, Luxury Escapes is really known for the deals and the opportunities that are on offer in the Maldives.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got an amazing stat where 25% of all Australians book in the Maldives book through Luxury Escapes.
Well, then you're definitely the right person to talk to. So what makes up the Maldives? How is it all comprised?
Yeah, so it's such a unique country. So there's 1,200 different islands there, 160 of which are occupied by resorts. So anything from entry-level 4-star product right up to ultra-luxury product, and something for everyone.
So can you tell me what your first impression was when you landed there and you got to the first island you went to?
Maldives is such a unique destination where there's such a high expectation in terms of the quality of and how it looks. It's on postcards. And for me, the biggest thing was realising that it actually looks better in real life. It's the colours, the water, the clarity, the people and the experience is just much beyond expectations.
Can you describe the scale of it to me when you first fly over it? We're obviously doing a podcast. So what is it when you see it for the first time? What's your response?
Yeah, so when you see it, you'll fly into Malé, which is the capital of the country, on your international flight. And then depending where your resort is, you'll either get a speedboat, a seaplane or a domestic transfer. During this time, you pass all the amazing islands in the region across crystal clear lagoons. If you are lucky enough to be on a seaplane, you can see all these amazing islands scattered beneath you. And then when you arrive at your destination, you're greeted warmly by the people working at the properties, and you feel like family.
Okay, so your first pro tip is, how do I want to get between the islands? What's the preferred mode?
Yeah, so look, depending what island you are staying at will depend on how you get there. So typically for those resorts closer to Malé, you can get a speedboat, and that will go anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes.
Yep.
For those more remote islands, either north or south of Malé, typically you get either a seaplane or a traditional aeroplane as well. They can take anywhere up to an hour typically.
Okay, so how did you find that yourself? I guess you were a solo traveller.
Yes.
You don't have the full family in tow, so I imagine it's not too difficult.
Yeah, for me, to be honest, I get seasickness, so I was a little nervous getting the speedboats. So I had a lot of seasickness pills as well. But I think for me, my personal highlight was the seaplane. It's such a unique experience. There's no more than 10 people in each seaplane. They fly quite low, so you're often below the cloud level, and you can see all the amazing islands beneath you. And it's quite quick, so you get the really unique experience, but it's not as though you're in the air for hours at a time.
I think the Maldives is on everyone's bucket list. Were you just pinching yourself that this is your job? You appear to have a very, very, very nice job.
I'm super fortunate. My friends, they get a little angry at me almost sometimes where I tell them where I'm going for a work trip, but it is absolute paradise. So whether that's honeymooners, people looking to do some amazing diving, there's world-class surfing, there's really something for everyone there.
So can we bust a couple of those myths that it is a holiday where, to use the term flop and drop, again, that's all you can do?
Yeah, look, if you want to do that, you absolutely can. There's islands where you can literally do that, and you don't even have to see other people if you don't want it. You can have barefoot private luxury, all inclusive in your private overwater villa for however long you want, and you can relax. Right up to the other end of it, where you can actually go skydiving in the Maldives as well. Oh,
really? Did you do that?
I did it in Melbourne once, and I'm not doing it again. But then right in the middle, you've got all the amazing other activities such as snorkeling, which is suitable for families as well in the the calm lagoon. You've got world-class surfing, world-class diving. There's actually the biggest population of whale sharks as well. So depending on which property you're at, you can be lucky enough to go diving with whale sharks.
Speaking of bucket list things, so did you get to do that?
I didn't. I did have the opportunity to snorkel with manta rays as well up at the Intercontinental, which was an absolutely amazing experience.
All right, let's start there then.
Yeah.
You brought it up. So tell me about the Intercon and tell me about that day.
Yeah, the Intercon, it's a brand new property. It opened actually just before COVID hit. So it's super fresh and new. And their really unique selling point is they've got these incredible modern overwater villas, thatched roofs, all the modern amenities that every luxury traveller would like. And they have manta rays year round. It actually peaks between August and November. And as part of the experience there, you can head out in a boat, you can snorkel with manta rays, and they are huge. It can almost be a little intimidating at the start, but they're really gentle creatures and you can get quite close to them.
So how many of them were there? And are you snorkeling under, you're not scuba diving here, but you probably
snorkeling.
can, I imagine.
Yeah, you can do both. But typically they're anywhere between 5 to 10 in each pack. I'm not sure what a flock of manta rays is called or the equivalent, but yeah, they're really gentle giants, and you can actually dive down with your snorkel, hold your breath, and get really close to them. And they're super friendly and intrigued by humans as well, so they come right up to you.
So, Michael, Luxury Escapes is really known for the deals and the opportunities that are on offer in the Maldives. I want to start by getting you to sort of take me through a couple of the resorts that really caught your eye.
Yeah, so our biggest seller for our members is a resort called the Pullman Maldives, which we've sent over 20,000 of our members there in the last 5 years, which is absolutely incredible. So I was really intrigued to know that the experience was as amazing as expected, and it absolutely was. So world-class dining across 6 different food and beverage outlets, all inclusive, so much so that at one of the Italian restaurants there's a wine wall that has 80 different wines, and there is nothing off limits. You can grab whatever bottle you
Get
like.
Out.
Yeah, there's nothing off limits. They are ultimately the best all-inclusive, or certainly the most generous all-inclusive property in the Maldives.
Okay, so when it comes to the Maldives, all-inclusive is a word I think that everybody needs to know. Yeah. And can you tell us why? Yeah,
so all-inclusive, typically 3 meals a day, depending on what restaurants the islands have, anything from Thai to Indian to French to Italian to local Maldivian, typically dine around as well. So the beauty of all-inclusive is you can change restaurants, you can have a different meal. You're not having the same meal each day. And the biggest flexibility is, of course, the alcohol as well, which for a lot of Australian travellers is obviously a really important thing. So think premium cocktails, premium spirits, beer, wine, mocktails and everything in between. And I guess the beauty of all-inclusive is it is that, and you don't have to worry about any other costs while you're there.
And that is something when you go to any island anywhere in the world that you have to keep an eye on. So you know before you've gone that it's actually, you know what you're going to spend. And I think even when you are having a luxury experience, you still want to know what your budget is at the end of the day and stick to that.
That's the best thing about it. So our Luxury Escapes deals always have transport included, which is another significant cost. And if it's an all-inclusive deal, it is all-inclusive and you can eat and drink to your heart's content.
Yum, yum. And this one is particularly special, the Pullman, because of the Aqua Villa.
Yes.
So can you please describe this to me? Because
I haven't told my boss I got to stay in this villa, but yeah.
He's going to find out after he hears
It's an amazing villa where they actually offer 2 bedrooms, one above water and one below water. So I had a night in the Aqua Villa below water and
how'd you sleep?
I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity because you see turtles coming up to the glass.
So it's essentially a bedroom with a huge glass wall?
It's a bedroom with a glass window, floor to ceiling, and you are on the same level as the ocean floor. So you're looking out over the cross of coral. You see turtles, you see reef sharks, you see schools of fish, and it's lit up outside the villa as well. So you can control the lights. So if you wake up at 3 a.m. and you're intrigued as to what's out there, you can turn on the lights. Did you do that?
And
yeah, there's reef sharks, all sorts of stuff. And they come right up to the glass as well because you are actually in the ocean, of course. So it was such a cool experience, something I'll never forget.
I think that would be definitely at the top of my bucket list. So that's the Pullman. And is that an easy one to get to too?
Yeah, that's an easy one to get to. So once you arrive in Malé, typically you'll be put on a domestic transfer. So that aeroplane, it's about a 45-minute flight and then a short speedboat of 10 minutes. So you'll be there in, call it, under an hour and a half.
Oh, fabulous. Now, the other one I wanted to take a look at is the open air bubble tent.
Yeah.
You did this too?
Yeah, this is an incredible experience.
Like I said, your job is ridiculous.
At Finaloo, which is in north of Male and one of our other biggest partners globally. So they've got amazing overwater villas as well as beachfront villas, and they've also got this really unique experience where it's an open air bubble tent. So you can substitute one of your nights. For example, you might have 7 nights in an overwater villa, but you can substitute one of those nights and stay on a private sandbank, which stretches for 200 meters in a luxury bubble tent as well.
So we're in the ocean
at
night?
Yeah, across a sandbank. So I don't think I've ever seen as many stars in the sky there. So that experience is absolutely completely unique. It's completely private as well, so it's not as though you're going to have people peering in or anything like that, but it is absolutely incredible.
Wow, so they drop you off?
Yeah, they drop you off. You're on your private 200-meter sandbank, and it's definitely something for a really special occasion.
It's definitely something for a honeymoon.
Yes.
So maybe we just pivot quickly now and talk about the honeymoon experience there. I mean, you obviously went on your own, but I imagine that kind of thing, it would just be next level if you were planning a honeymoon.
The Maldives is one of the most sought after locations globally for honeymooners, and for good reason. It's that really romantic luxury. There's plenty of privacy as well. And if you're in your own private villa, over water or beach villa, it is such a unique experience. And you can interact with other guests as well when you're on the islands, or you can be as private as you like. That's the beauty of it.
And another property I wanted to take a look at was Raffles. Of course, so well known with Singapore, but they've also got one in the Maldives too. Yeah,
they've got an incredible property in the Maldives. It's a really remote property, so about an hour flight. And it is a really small property, so something like 35 villas on that property. So really private, really high-end luxury. It actually had the best snorkeling that I saw in the region as well. So I walked off the beach 15 metres, put my snorkeling cap on, and it was like nothing I've ever seen in this world. And I've snorkeled a lot in the Great Barrier Reef as well.
Yep.
And the water clarity, the quality of the reef, there's absolutely no damage on the reef there. And when you can see sea turtles and reef sharks and bright coral and fishes, it was really special.
And I mentioned honeymooning before, but you've touched on the adventure side of things. So you've got your skydiving, you've got your snorkeling. What else can we do if we're the person that doesn't just want to sit there and read a book?
The other big one for me is world-class surfing. So something for the guys out there on their honeymooners. There are plenty of world-class waves. Some are right on the island themselves. Others require a short boat trip, but certainly worth calling out. And then diving as well. There's amazing dive sites which are world class. So there's something for everyone. So for those adventure junkies, it's not necessarily a flop and drop as we spoke about before. You can make your days whatever they want to be.
And during my days, I'm going to be eating. So what's the food like? Incredible.
Yeah, really high end. There's some resorts are Michelin star. So at the most high end properties, right through to more entry-level products, but there is literally something for everyone. So typically most resorts have anywhere between 3 to 6 different restaurants.
Which I think is needed sometimes when you go somewhere. If you're going to be there for 6 or 7 days, you don't want to eat at the same place.
No, you're not eating the same buffet or anything like that. So most resorts will have different influences from around the world. So Indian, Italian, French, local Maldivian, and everything in between. Typically on our all-inclusive deals, it's a la carte dining as well. So no restrictions. You can select whatever you want on the menu and drink anything you want as well.
What was, what was the best meal that you had there?
Oh, best meal. I think it's the Italian restaurant at the Pullman, which also had the wine wall. I think that goes hand in hand. Maybe I'm biased because of the wine wall, but the Italian was absolutely amazing. Had some really incredible pasta, and paired with a nice red wine, it's pretty hard to beat.
And we spoke about the colours, but what about the weather and the natural environment? Can you give me a bit of an insight into that and what it was like?
Yeah, so it's a tropical destination. Year-round temperatures hover between, say, 30 to 33 degrees. The water is similar, so definitely no wetsuits or anything needed, no matter what time of the year you're there, which is great. There is a drier season, so from December through to March is the high season, and that is because days are typically very sunny and warm. Low season, anywhere between May to September, the weather can have that sort of tropical showers, as you'd seen in the likes of a North Queensland, for example. So It's beautiful year round. From May to September, you might get a daily shower, but the beauty of it is it's warm. So there's no reason not to go swimming.
Exactly. Now, your pro tip was to make sure that you go the all-inclusive route because it's just that way to be certain you know what you spend. But your other pro tip, it's to pack everything, isn't it?
Yeah, pack everything. The sun is super hot, so certainly pack all your sunscreen. Plenty of bathers for swimming. There actually is usually a store, like a convenience store on each resort in case you need some other things like sort of medical or you forget your toothpaste or anything like that. But certainly pack your togs.
That's the number one item you need. Do you think a lot of people think that maybe the Maldives is a little bit overwhelming? What did you find when you get there? It's actually not. And there's so much to do. Like that's been my lesson from you is that you don't actually just sit there and relax. It's a holiday that you can do a bit of that and a bit of something else too.
You can design the sort of holiday you want based on which property you pick. So I'd advise definitely do your research, keep an eye on the Luxury Escapes deals. And we really make clear what sort of experience each property offers. And whether that's adrenaline-filled or more of a relaxing romantic holiday or anything in between, there is literally something for everyone there.
And if I've got the kids in tow or if I don't, I'm still going to need to get there by a plane. So what's going to be the easiest way for me to do that?
Yeah, easiest way. So if you're flying out of Sydney, Melbourne or Brisbane, typically going through Singapore is the most popular route. So that's about an 8-hour flight to Singapore, a quick stopover, and then it's another 4 hours into Malé. And once you get into Malé, depending on where your resort is, depends on if it's a speedboat, a seaplane or a domestic transfer as well. But the travel is well worth it once you get there, and that level of relaxation that you feel when you step foot on that white sand and beautiful water of your island makes it all worth it.
If you had to sum it up in one sentence, what would you say about the Maldives?
Completely unique and world class.
Tick, tick. Michael, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course, we all know Luxury Escapes can sort out all of your accommodation, but they can also find you the best flights too. And when it comes to heading to the Maldives, the best person to speak to is Chris Malina. He's the head of flights for Luxury Escapes. Chris, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. Now, tell me, how do I get there?
Well, the most direct flight into the Maldives, Jackie, is via Singapore using Singapore Airlines. So Singapore Airlines have one flight per day into the Maldives.
And how long does it take to get from Singapore to there?
I think roughly 4 hours.
Yeah.
4 hours. In totality, in terms of transiting time, you're probably looking at about 16-hour flight.
Mm-hmm.
However, other options are via the Middle East. So you've got Emirates, you've got Etihad, and you've got Qatar. We've got great connectivity out of Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Doha. And all their flights arrive around midday, early morning to midday.
It means it's a bit less stressful for you.
Yeah, it's a bit longer. A couple of hours longer, but it's not the end of the world. You can also look at overnighting in any of those cities.
That could be a really good idea too if you've got kids in tow to break it up by doing that, would you say?
Oh, 100%, especially Dubai and Abu Dhabi where you got water bomb parks where the kids can just hang loose and go crazy. And it's also a good it's good to break up the journey. So such a long trip, 14 hours to Dubai or Abu Dhabi or to Doha. Overnighting, it just refreshes you.
Yeah, because I think with that only half an hour turnaround, this could be a really good option for some people that they might not even consider that. So that's why it's good to have a chat to you and sort of find out almost at the back way in.
Yeah, and Emirates fly 3 times a day to Melbourne and Sydney, and they fly the A380. Now, the one thing that people ask me is who my favourite airline is, and it's not about the airline. It's about the aircraft.
The plane, yes.
So the A380 is my favourite aircraft. And, when you fly an A380, you don't feel any turbulence. It's spacious, high bulkheads. So the actual trip is much, much more comfortable.
So if I'm heading to the Maldives, that is a very good option to choose, Chris.
100%.
Thank you for that pro tip. Thanks for listening. Experience more of the world's best holiday destinations with Luxury Escapes, with more inclusions, more value and more expertise. Find and book everything you need from hotels and resorts to flights, tours, cruises and experiences. Stay up to date with other episodes of Travel in 20 on Spotify, Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. And visit luxuryescapes.com to get more from your next holiday.